to Poets at War, a podcast documenting the brood of writers, where art, theology, philosophy, and fun beckon your ears. Today on the program, Joshua David Ling, Benjamin Curlee, and Jesse Marsalis gather to discuss the intersection of cutting-edge AI technology and the ancient role of the bard. We begin with a look at new tools for world building and a recap of the Fight Laugh Feast conference from 2025.
Faith like bedrock, even when the path rocks. I'm a burnt marsh wiggle, but my spirit's lit. Reality's a riddle, but I won't quit. Imagined or real, I choose what I feel. None in my heart, that's the realest deal.
Recorded November 4th, 2025.
Yes, you have.
Have I?
It's been a while. I'm Benjamin. I
been a while.
I know Joshua from way back in the day.
He's with Yonder Child.
Oh, wait. I left last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Benjamin,
I had,
yes.
but I do
Benjamin
know you.
Curlee.
I was going to say, I don't know you from the group then. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
That's it, yeah.
Correct. But no, we've
Long-time
known each other
lurker.
since what, like 2012 or something like that?
Easily, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
before
at
I was
least
born.
Good try. Good try there, broccoli hair.
Hey, that's not permed, all right? That's natural.
True, it is natural. Also, you're far more Cab Calloway than the broccoli hair folk.
I'll take it.
We've been talking so much lately about how he's just morphing into Cab Calloway every day. He was wearing the like 1930s style zoot suit pants at FLF this year.
Yes.
It was a double pleated pants with a sweater over like a button up and a tie. I don't think I have any pictures from it, but
I'm just waiting on the cargo pants to finally make their way back around. The zip
I
up
am.
cargo.
I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for them to not do that.
Oh boy. Oh, so what's been up, my gentlemen?
I actually did a little thing for John a little while ago. Let me send you
Which
the
John?
stuff for that. Schleprock.
Do I know him?
Yeah, Ramsey.
Ramsey, yes. Okay. What is this exactly? You put it in the chat, Benjamin, if you want to see.
No, I just DM'd it to you. I don't know if that's like a thing to send.
Oh wait,
I
no,
probably
that's
did.
another thing. Okay, no, that was I just clicked the thing that Brendan sent last time. Oh, okay, yeah, the cover, very nice. How's he doing, by the way? He's not coming around as much, but you're talking to him, so that's cool.
I think he's doing well. I think he's on his like third. He's finishing up the third book right now, which is just really impressive. Because I've only read like 10 chapters of his first one, and need to read more because it really was really good to read.
Yeah. He definitely is great at creating atmosphere and creating a very specific world.
Yeah, but his on Royal Road, he had sent this in the chat some months back. His Royal Road covers. You can tell that whoever made them cared, but probably didn't have access to more tools than AI and something to composite the things with.
Yep.
So I was like, I have a little bit of skill in this, so I might as well just spend like 45 minutes to put something together for him. And
yeah, it looks pretty good.
And so I just sent that over to him earlier, and he was like, whoa. It's a little thing. I was originally thinking of maybe, and this is still an idea to actually bring around for the brood, but for people's projects, we could have the weekly challenge be do something from one of these people's stories, maybe even like making the book cover or something like that.
That could be something fun. I definitely need to put that in Brendan's ear. He tagged me for the last one, and I was like, well, Thanksgiving's coming around, and everyone's complains that there's no Thanksgiving songs or Thanksgiving things that we do. They're like, oh, we're just jumping to Christmas. And I'm like, I can't get through my Christmas list without November because it's just too broad.
So isn't that just a clear sign of the prosperity that we enjoy, that we aren't that excited about feasting, especially with family? We feast all the time.
Exactly. Check the picture in the chat now, Benjamin. He just posted it there. This is the cover he did for our friend John.
Nice. It's clean. I
Pretty
like that.
great, right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know the late plot details, but it's at least enough to be like kind of true to the book. It's generic enough to get people's attention.
Yes.
And it doesn't feel like a romance novel.
True. It reminds me kind of some better like 1970s sort of covers. It has that sort of like Bedknobs and Broomsticks sort of feel.
Never read it.
I wasn't even talking necessarily even about the book or the movie, just kind of like just that sort of vibe. That's what I get from it. The movie is hilarious. It's Angela Lansbury becoming a witch so that she can fight the Nazis, and the dad from Mary Poppins is in it, and he plays a con man who is who pretends to be a magician and is doing a correspondence college of witchcraft that actually works for other people but not for him. So, anyway,
that sounds elaborate.
Have you guys heard of MarbleWorld Labs yet?
Mm-mm.
What?
Okay, I just dropped a link. This is a AI that is in beta that I just got let into that allows you to take a single what do you call it? Flat image and turn it into a 3D environment very quickly.
That is slick.
You should be able to go into this and see this room. This is the room, both of you know it from Guardians of Atlanta, The Prophecy. It's the room that takes place in. I just did a very comic booky, generation from ChatGPT image, and then put it in here. And now I can get whatever angle of the room I want. I can insert a character, take a screenshot, then insert the characters, then regenerate it, and get more or less the shots that I want that I can then animate.
I'm outside of the house. It's very spooky out here.
Oh, you went through the house. Right.
Oh, you can just press W. Okay.
You can bring in
Yes, you did. A SPZ, low res, a PLY, a collider mesh GLB, and a 360 panorama flat image. So these are using something called Gaussian Splats.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like a splat
thing,
sort of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
I think it's just really cool for getting shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you regenerate and you've got the right angle that you want. You can create these little environments and keep them fairly consistent. You still got to keep an eye on it when you regenerate, but
sure. But man, like thinking about being able to do like subtle movements as well, bring in your illustrations, your cartoon, your people on like a 2D plane, place them in this space, and then do slight movements and depth of field. And that's pretty neat.
Yep, you could do that with the 3D software. I'm not as into the 3D software, and I'm trying to keep it as 2D as possible, so there is that. But I'm thinking
about right now because I've got a micro studio to build, and all I have from it is photos. It's like,
oh yeah,
this could help me mock up some images really quickly.
Yep, definitely. Oh boy. So it is in beta and you have to be let in. But yeah, you can go to marble.worldlabs.ai. They're working on this thing. It's the best that I've seen so far. Like Google does something similar, but theirs is a lot more closed off and a lot more like, it's meant to create giant worlds, not just like a little room, you know, here or there or that kind of a thing. And this is much more to my liking for what I want to do. I want to focus on like keep the environment the same roughly so that I can change things based on the shot and use a nano banana to get things super accurate, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with it so far. Go ahead.
Is this that thing that generates worlds that like go on forever? Like tunnels?
You can take this and like put your Gaussian splats together as like rooms and create like an infinite mall if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, that explains where that's come from. I've been wondering.
So, but yeah, so it didn't make the bed quite as wide as I wanted it to, but like other than that, I really have no complaints. It's a coherent room. It's just a matter of, you know, getting the shots and then regenerating them to get rid of sort of the Gaussian nature, and then putting my characters in, regenerating that, making sure they're posed properly with nano banana, all that. So,
whoa, this is trippy.
Are you playing with some of the other worlds?
I went to one of those. Yeah, the really big ones, and like the geometry is just so wrong because it looks at first like you're in a square room, then you move, and it's like it looks more like a boomerang. It's shaped like a boomerang.
Yeah,
it's just so weird. Oh my god.
The angle of your camera also the it's not the angle, the I guess the angle, the wideness of the lens changes based on how wide your browser window is. So you can actually get a much more wide shot, or like much, you know, I don't know, what is the opposite of wide? Narrow? In a camera, is that what they call it? I don't know cameras, you know me. More narrow shot, you know, depending on how you change your browser window. So, but yeah. Whoa. Pretty cool stuff. Benjamin's impressed.
I'm just thinking about the hours of work this would have taken once upon a time.
Right. Oh boy. But yeah, I'm using for the characters consistency, I'm generating a flat turnaround image, and then taking just the straight on shot. Usually that's good enough. Sometimes I have to do the side shot, but essentially I just pull that into a vertical frame with a white background, and I ask the AI animate, I use Hailu 2 or something like that, to do a 360 rotate. And so then I can take that
character
and just put them in the scene at whatever like angle 360 that I want. Right.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then basically put that in a 2D plane, and then pose them with nano banana and make sure everything's nice and coherent once I regenerate, you know. So yeah, it's keeping everything mostly consistent.
And you're using AI like an artist as a
exactly
tool in the pipeline. It's
for
not
assets.
All done. Yes.
No. But Suno has been incredible lately. I'm kind of holding back on saying much about what I've done with that, just because I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm not holding back as far as like telling anyone what I did, but like bragging about it in any kind of way. Yeah. It does. But I'm essentially working on creating operatic music videos with the full sound effects and voices and everything else for at least the first one in Guardians of Atlanta, The Prophecy, and you know, seeing what I can do from there. I'm gonna probably send it to Marcus and be like, hey, so I know you need like more information than this, but
what happened? Did one of their guys move?
The lore guys, I have no clue. They keep everything pretty close to chest. I don't know.
I'd heard some stuff in the grapevine. I just couldn't remember what it was. It also might have been a completely different Marcus, because we know several.
That's fair. Not Marcus the Worm. I don't know if anyone knows Marcus the Worm besides me, but anyway.
Probably just do. Ooh, a castle with mushrooms.
Yeah, that one's fun. I've played in that one before. The face you're making, you're just like, whoa, man. Oh,
is this a Nautilus? Oh my gosh.
Jesse's having too much fun.
This is incredible. Oh no, this is the moon.
So, Benjamin, how's work been and everything? Been busy?
It's picking up, which is good. It's been a rough year.
Yep. Wait to hear from Samuel on how he wants me covering him and everything coming up. I'm excited that that's happening. Even beyond just the extra pay, just like, whoa. On top of that, the two other big things that have been coming my way, Logo Sophia wants to potentially pay me. They're doing a trial for two months to boost things. And then if that goes well, then I'll have that monthly. And then the other one that just randomly came up is there's a, I don't have a ton of experience, but they're super desperate at this point. There's a local pipe band that needs a drummer and a drum instructor. I could teach myself drums very quickly. I'm very musical. It's fine. And I have no clue if I would even have time for it at this point. That one came up today as I was like working at church, and I'm just like, God, so many things in front of me right now, all shiny things. I can't say yes to everything. Please help me.
It's a good problem to have.
It is. So, did you see Jesse's video for Fight Laugh Feast, Benjamin?
I did, yeah.
This past one, wasn't that funny?
That was hilarious. It was. It screamed inside joke.
Yes. Did you catch what the inside joke was on the feast fast thing? Yes.
Yeah. I can't believe that. That's.
Yeah, so the pens, they ordered a bunch of pens.
I got to see one in person. Adrian brought one back, and it's like looking at it, it's like, this is a nice pen. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's so nice.
I want it. Like, this is great.
And all of them were printed with fast. Every single one of them. It was so wonderful.
If I was Gabe, I'd just lean into it and be like, all right, well, the Lord has spoken. Next year, we're fasting ahead of time.
It's funny because for me, most of these conference jobs are like, I have to fast just because I don't have time to eat. And my stomach is usually unsettled because I'm working so much. So for me, it kind of is a fight, laugh, fast until the very end. So I'm used to
that. Oh boy. Met Ricardo Davis for the first time at this one, and he was absolutely hilarious.
So fun. Oh my gosh.
He was I don't know, I think I've told you what Alex and I want to do in Oklahoma eventually, right? The school building idea. I told you about that. Yeah. I told Ricardo Davis because he was just talking to us about the Brood and stuff, because I'm promoting Brood and all that jazz. And he was just like, oh, Lord help these men. Give them everything they need for their mission. It was just great.
What was that thing? You had said something at one point where you were like,
further up and further in.
He was like, yeah. He was like, you guys are just pushing along. You said further up, further in. He just went, oh.
Because I had never met him. I'd known him from our circles forever, and whatnot. But like, I just never met him. And we talked about places and people and stuff, and just like, yeah, absolutely. Like his Zemi Fleck, his main person. They both been president in recent years at Georgia Right to Life. Like, she used to be Joe's secretary. So like, that's those are all connections and whatever else. And so we had a lot to talk about there. And I told him about my dad. He seemed to remember some rumblings about my dad being shot back in 87 and whatever else when I mentioned it. And so we talked about that and whatever else. And Do you know Dante? Does he know what's Dante's last name? I forget.
Gotro, but no, Dante is new to these all of these spheres. Like he knows you and Alex, and he went to FLF. Gotcha. That's all he knows so far.
Right. And you brought him from Louisiana? Is that what the deal was, or?
Yes, I'm getting him in this world.
But he went to NSA for a while. Is that right?
Dante? No, God.
No. Okay.
Oh, goodness, no.
What did he do? He went to like some kind of thing and dropped out or something like that. What was the deal with that? Y'all were talking about that a little bit. Or like he was thinking of going somewhere, or
he was going to like a thing in Louisiana, but that's as far as my knowledge goes on that.
Oh, okay.
Unless he's done something that he hasn't told me about.
Okay, cool. No. It was just when we were hanging out and talking. There was do you want to tell him about what happened with the
the boys paramilitary sort of alert? Is that what you're? Oh, yes. That brings back memories.
You went there?
I did not, but I had friends who did. And that was a Wednesday night staple where they would bring it back and do it with all the youth boys.
And they would then they start talking about it, and it's like it's the only thing that they know how to talk about.
It was that, or it was computer building. So a lot of but can it run crisis?
There
you go.
Yeah.
So Dante, awesome. So Dante was hearing me and Ricardo talk, and he was the only one who really questioned the bard thing the entire weekend, which was kind of cool and new. I think having a better hat and some upgrades to my wear and whatnot. A lot of people really liked it. They liked the curled mustache when I did that and all that stuff. And so, but in fact, Ricardo Davis said, "You look like a living illustration." I'm like, that is the best compliment I've ever had. Thank you.
At the very most, you might have had some like concerned mothers who were like ushering their children away, but I didn't see anything.
Right.
So
I didn't see anything with that.
I presume it was taken well.
I saw more like really young kids who were very confused about it and or scared, but then they talked to their moms, and then their moms, "It's fine. It's a kilt. Don't be weird."
It might have been. I guess maybe. Just like the fact that everybody you knew, you would just walk up and like give a big old bear hug.
Yeah,
and
that was a big part of it. Yeah.
So maybe that like disarmed everybody to the idea
I think
of
that was part of it.
A man in a man skirt.
There you go. What was it? But yeah, so Dante was here at me and Ricardo talking. He heard like the story of my dad getting shot and all that other stuff, and he actually like when Ricardo started talking to someone else, he was like. And he had heard me tell the prophecy and like one other story at this point to Alex, and the whole weekend he was like, "What's with the bard thing?" The first thing he says when he meets me is, "I don't think they do cosplay here." Right?
Oh yeah, because I didn't tell
Dante's like 17.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Dante. 22.
Okay, he's 22. All right, still he's young. Anyway, point. But he's just a very sarcastic individual. I really loved him. He was hilarious. But at that point, it was toward the end of the weekend. Met Ricardo Davis. One of the last big conversations we had the whole thing, and I told him about my dad and him getting shot. That whole stuff. He goes, "Dude, you really have like a D&D bard's origin story, like in real life." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I'm a bard." Jesse, tell them about the your little bard moment out by the cars.
Yeah, one of the nights we hung outside of Rocket Town, and eventually went over by my car because that was like the only spot we couldn't get into like the hotel, or there wasn't a good space to do that. So we just hung out right outside of my car, popped the trunk. I grabbed my guitar, and we were just like out there hanging out, and then and a couple of Nashville locals swung by.
Or tourists.
You could smell that they were Nashville. Or tourists. Yeah. Or tourists. That's fair enough.
They heard the guitar, and they're like, "What? Live music?"
Yeah, they walked over.
Well,
I still had my name tag on. Yeah, that's right. He wanted a light for his cigarette. And so he saw a bunch of people, some with pipes, some with guitars, and they were like, let's go over here. I think there was 3 or 4 of them.
There were 4. There were
4.
2 girls and 2 guys, yeah.
And I still had my name tag on. I had forgotten to take it off, but it wasn't really a problem. And he one of the leader of the group, I would say, leans over and he's like, Jesse, give us a song. And I was already playing a song by the Oh Hellos, and so I just continued that. It was Like the Dawn, and so I just played that and started singing it, and one of them started harmonizing
badly, and I was harmonizing in my best deep dwarven voice on top of everything. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I actually like he was able to hold a note, and the other guy was just like, oh, it was great.
Care.
Yeah, exactly. I actually thought it was hilarious that he was he was just like in it. So, and at one point, the song at one point, one of the ladies is just like mid verse. She's just like, these lyrics are just beautiful. And I couldn't say anything at the time because I was still in the middle of singing it, but I was going to pipe up and say, that's because it's Genesis 2. It's bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. And that was really funny. So they went away happy that we had given them a little bit of a music.
Is it poetry? Yes. Is it historical account? Yes.
Exactly.
And it's metered.
I just thought it was just a really funny little thing because it was like maybe 30-45 minutes after the Rocketown had fully closed, and we were just in the adjacent public parking lot, with his car just sitting there doing our thing. It was Alex and Debbie and Dante and Mady, his Jesse's sister, Jesse, and me. And we were just being the brood. and our little light got a chance to shine. It was just kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, it was like this fun little serendipitous moment.
Second unofficial BroodCon.
Yes, because Alex's wedding was the first in Oklahoma.
For practical tools of creation, the conversation shifts from philosophy to the artist. The Brood discusses the death of Hollywood, the necessity of Christian storytelling, and Joshua demos a new song generated to inspire fathers to be the bards of their own homes.
I had, do you know Peter Ricketts?
Yeah, not personally, but I've met him. Yeah.
He and one of his buddies from Little Anthony's Cigars and stuff, they took me to lunch at FLF to go get some hot chicken, and we had some good conversations, and they were your typical natural law kind of guys, and we were talking about that and theonomy and other things, and they're very, very anti-AI, and I come in with like something Doug TenNapel actually said. I got to see Doug TenNapel and talk to him a little bit more. And, he's crazy dispensationalist as far as eschatology and whatever else. He has kind of a weird whatever, but like asking him, I kind of agree with him on one thing. I asked him what he thinks AI is going to do to artistry in the next 10, 15 years specifically. And he said, well, honestly, everybody's going to be able to just make whatever shows they want for themselves. Mm-hmm. And he's not saying that in a derogatory way, which I thought was interesting. Like, a lot of people heard it that way, but I could tell he wasn't saying that based on his tone. And I said, so how much more important is it going to be for dads especially to be able to create the stories for their families, right? And mm-hmm. be the one who's being their family's bard, describing that to him, whatever else. And he's like, yeah, I mean, that's already really important. I think it'll just be amplified, and so he was 100% on board with me on that front. He's obviously thinking it's going in a darker direction, ultimately, but like, not ultimately, mm-hmm. but like semi-ultimately. But
yeah, exactly, where everyone's trapped in their own little VR world.
Right. But he thinks that the people who will be valiant with it are going to absolutely do what I said. So,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I keep coming back to this thought that the work I do, I literally wouldn't have been able to do in any other time or place. Like, I am benefiting and able to make money at doing stuff that would have required a much higher entry once upon a time.
Yep.
And it's just going to continue being that way. And what it's going to do is it's going to divide the people who will and the people who won't, because there isn't a people who can't anymore. It's will you or won't you?
Right. And the will you or won't you also comes down to not so much can or can't, you're like you said, but it's the master slave mindset. It's the idea of how much am I going to actually wrap my mind around this thing to control it? Because it's not an easy task to think about, right? That's where the new difficulty is coming in, is in the big picture, right? And the intentionality behind everything. I think that, and this is something that I felt was going to happen, like back when we were first talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's where the new industry, that's where the new Hollywood and other things are going to emerge. It's those people who are able to take all these little tools, pull all the strings together into something.
Yes, and do it in a way that's either so novel it actually like gets people's eyes for the sheer or whatever, crazy novelty of it, or someone who is so sincere in their actual storytelling and their performance that it comes through, right? Because human performance, whether you're taking hours and hours and hours to craft it out of digital cloth, like using whatever prompts you're doing for 11 Labs and whatever, because there are people, I've seen a few people who can do so much prompting with like 11 Labs and other things like that, and I'm like, for me, I'm just like, man, I could just do it. Like, I'll just do my voice, right? Like, I'll just perform it. But I know there are people who can't, and I'm interested to see where that pipeline ends up, because that kind of thing can actually create something wholly different. Like animation was that way. Like people actually creating images that moved, right? that had the illusion of movement, right? As opposed to just using a camera to shoot something or like puppeteer something, right? It was a whole different idea. And so for me, I'm interested to see where that goes. And I don't think any of these new things are the death of the old thing in any way, shape, or form. And so many people are just like lamenting the death of this and that and the other. And I'm like, no. If you really are sold on doing your thing, you shouldn't be sold on the method. That's where we're getting stuck. We're getting stuck on the method and not on the end goal. And yes, there's something beautiful and great about 2D animation. There's something beautiful and great about, somebody pulling something out of whole cloth, me doing my vocal performances for my characters and all those other sorts of things. That's always going to be there, someone who's exceptional on a human level. But like when you get so prideful about yourself on a human level that you feel like you can't add anything from, a generative process, I'm sorry. That's just sad lack of imagination.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. Well, and it's a failure to recognize that you have trained yourself to be able to see and recognize the beauty in the small details. And like get excited about that.
Yes.
But understand that most people will never see that.
Right. And if you want to put that in there, finding better and more efficient ways to do that up to 90% is sometimes worthwhile. And you should realize that and realize what was it the cinematography of Spider-Man Tobey Maguire that really actually made you love the movie, or was it the story? Be honest about that.
Bingo.
Like the
Bingo.
cinematography was
Exactly.
definitely part of it, but if it wasn't telling the story of Peter Parker, it wouldn't matter, right?
Yep. Exactly. Now we, as a family, we went and watched Zathura the other day, and good grief, I remember watching that as a kid, thinking, "This is kind of lame." You know, it's a lesser version of Jumanji. Man, going back and listening to the score and watching the cinematography and the pacing and everything now, it's like, this is good. This is good. And not only is it good for when it was, and I just didn't recognize it at the time, but it is excellent compared to everything that's being put out now.
Yeah. Oh boy. I have not seen Zathura. What is that one about? He said it's like a Jumanji-ish sort of thing.
It's like Jumanji in space, basically.
Okay, I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember much about it. When did you see it? As a kid, you said?
Oh yeah, we saw it as a kid, and then just last week we watched as a family again.
Have you done the activities on here, like the YouTube thing? Have you ever done that on here on Discord or no?
I have seen it done, but I haven't ever tried to do it.
Are you joined in?
I am authorizing it.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
So, okay, so this is just a Suno song that I created that I wanted to share with you. This is not my stories, but this is a Be Your Family's Bard song. I made it as unbelievably cheesy and sincere as I possibly could on purpose. For the fun of it. And so feel free to absolutely laugh, but like tell me what you think, be fully honest. Anyway, here we go.
There's a fire dying in the hearth tonight. The old story's fading like the evening light.
I'll just go through the chorus.
Children ask you questions that you can't explain about the God who conquered death and rose again. You could give them answers cold and clinical, or paint them pictures, make it mythical. Show them the dragon slain and the kingdoms won, the ancient battle and the rising sun. Don't let the wonder die, don't let the magic fade. There's power in the stories, let the faithful ever made. So be your family's bard tonight. Sing the old
I love it. I
Right?
absolutely love it.
Paint the pictures words alone can't show, of a God who's greater than they'll ever know. Strike those screams and let the anthem soar. Tell them why their fathers fought this war. Light the flame and pass it burning hard. Won't you be your family's bard?
Isn't that fun?
That's Yep. That is like, that brings all the nostalgia of like life-changing 80s, like credits are rolling and you've just
Yep.
watched a movie that you know you will never forget.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You can hit leave activity when you want, but yeah. Pretty hilarious. Oh boy. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making that one.
Yep. No, I've done specifically like that 80s vibe. enjoy that. Just music. They don't write music and perform it like that anymore, which is really disappointing. I want a resurgence of that, please. But I've been doing that
especially
with some of the songs.
reverb on the drums. The reverb on the drums is just like so unbelievably loud. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes. No, I've been doing that with some Psalms, and man, I need to actually go back and refine some more now that Suno's got some new versions.
Yeah, the V5 out, it's so good. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, and do you know about the melodies? The thing you can do with the melodies now?
I haven't played with it in a month.
Oh, you can record up to like 4 minutes of whatever, or upload something that's, not like unbelievably copyright. I've done songs and have it cover it in whatever style you want, right? So like you can sing to a click track and have a whole song. Like it's unbelievable. That level of creativity is just like, what? I took one that I did on Udio years ago, The Hunting of the Dragon by G.K. Chesterton, as an 80s rock song type thing. And it was one of the favorites that Alex ever heard. Alex is not a big fan of the AI stuff, but he was amazed by what that was able to do. And I I didn't cover it, but I remastered it. And it sounds really good now. But yeah, so you should definitely play with it.
No, and it's gotten a lot better. I used it. Oh, what I used it for? I used it on, I think it was FLF's promo. I used it for the cinematic stuff, and it's actually gotten a lot better about doing instrumental music. It really used to have a really hard time with strings in particular. It would just get all watery, and you could hear the artifacts. Just
there's still a thing where it kind of blends with you have other stuff going on. Like if you have strings like a fiddle and you've got other things like bagpipes or something going on, they tend to
and it'll be like
too much
merge.
Yeah, but it's still pretty good. And the I haven't played with the studio yet, but I've seen it's still too early, I think, on the Suno Studio for me to do any full upgrade.
I played with it just a little bit there because it was claiming it could generate MIDI tracks, like break out the instruments and do MIDI. And I went and tried to play with that. It's got a little ways to go. Like once it gets that is where I think the artists are going to come back around to it.
I think so too. And I think there's
I can actually use it as a tool now.
Right. And I think that the thing that I'm kind of lamenting people not realizing is the animation workflows. That's the biggest thing for me. Because no one's seeing, because there's not like one particular group that's trying to do it. And I think they're not doing it because of the fact that so many artists in the 2D space are already are still completely butthurt over the 3D stuff and whatever else. And I'm like, everyone wants to see 2D, just crowd fund stuff. Like that's what's his name does. If he could actually get a crew together, he would have a full length movie. What's his name? The guy who did Brother Bear. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But yes, it is appreciated. It's just very niche. And you have to understand that you're going to work with a limited budget because it's niche.
Right. And it's great and it's wonderful and you should totally do it. But lowering the bar for other people to actually be able to do animation is actually like an amazing thing that no company is actually whole cloth taking charge of yet. Like everyone's just doing video model in general and everything's kind of based on camera first. And I'm like, really? Is that the thing that we want to be working on? Like that's
No, I know exactly. It's like we've already accepted computer generated imagery
right
on the face of it. Yes, we have artists that are manipulating it, but like what's the step from that over to just full the computer even animates it? Like,
right. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. Let me show you. I'll throw one in the chat real quick, but this is just like one shot that I was just doing as a test shot for just generally the look of what I'm trying to do for this first thing. Let's do which shot here? Let's just do the 1A shot. I think it should be no problem just to upload. Let me see. I thought I pressed go. What? Okay. Hold on. There we go. And is it not? There it goes. Okay. So yeah, this shot turned out pretty cool. When you hit play on that, you'll see like it is sort of 3D-ish, but it's more 2D than 3D, it feels like to me. At least in the colors and the line work, you know, that sort of a thing.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I'm going for overall.
It's got that Hobbit. Which version of the Hobbit? The rotoscoped version, basically. It's got that vibe about it.
Was that the route? Not. Oh, what is the name? Rankin Bass.
Oh yeah, the Ralph.
One.
The Ralph. But how do you say his last name?
No, Rankin Bass. Rankin Bass was what I was wanting to say. The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer 2D animated one. Is that what you're saying, or
no? Like the Hobbit.
The Ralph Bashki Lord of the Rings.
That's it. Yes. It's got that feel.
Yes, it does, and I think that's perfect for Guardians specifically. I think I'd do a little bit more. I definitely do different styles for other things, but I'm trying to make it like most like the genre that it is. And so that's like with any of my stories. I plan on doing more of a let me show you a picture that I did for ITR Idiot's Guide. I did a just a new logo recently on them, and I specifically wanted to do, now that I have a little bit more tools to be able to do it, but I wanted to do this sort of Game Boy Advance pixelated style. It's not quite like 8-bit, but it's like more like a Game Boy Advance or a later Super Nintendo sort of a look, right? Sega Genesis, that sort of a thing. And I think that could be a really cool vibe to do for what I'm doing, because everything's essentially going to be an operatic music video storytelling, you know, kind of like a Hamilton sort of a thing, but like a music video with the words on the screen. So the words are just as much a part of the whole story as everything else. And basically like I want to do a full character voice singing their parts, the whole nine, you know. I can do most of the men with some changes, and then a couple AI ones, and then there's a couple people that I really want to do specific characters, and they've already agreed a while ago to do them. So it's just a matter of, you know, getting to where I can with those. But
leaving the digital studio behind, we wade into the deep waters of theology and economics. The trio debates eschatology, the concept of duty as the foundation of theonomy, and whether a return to the guild system could save the free market from crony capitalism.
Oh yes. Did you let's see, I haven't no, I've not. I've signed no NDA, so I'm good. I did some work with Todd recently.
Yes, I heard about that. I didn't hear about it, but I heard that it was happening.
Yeah, so it was two college campuses in Oklahoma.
I can also edit this out, just letting my transcript self know if need be. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. But no, it just it was interesting getting to work with him again and see how much has not changed in his personality and his expectations. Yes. But also it was amazing coming back in with confidence as the expert that I know that I am now. And being able to not second guess when questions are raised, but being able to double down, like, no, this is how it's done. And there's no negotiating that. You don't know, but I do.
Right.
So.
Oh man, what part of Oklahoma?
North side and south side. So it was Oklahoma State and University of Oklahoma, both those locations.
Gotcha.
So partnering with some campus ministries there to to have do a presentation, then a Q&A. And at one of them, like it went, I think it was University of Oklahoma, went really late. And the Q&A time was hilarious. Todd is just like John MacArthur, dispensational. So at one point, someone was asking, why are you so supportive of the Israel and the Jews? And Todd goes down a rabbit hole about Romans and how they're still God's chosen people. And I'm just biting my lip. Come on, Todd.
See, are you still
Israel?
Are you still Amel?
I am historic pre-mill.
You're historic pre-mill now. Okay.
I am. Yeah, I'm historic pre-mill. Yes.
Okay.
But I am very, very covenantal at the same time.
Yeah. I love that. Historical pre-mill is the second most respected for me outside of like proper post mill. There's some weird post mills too, but like you know what I mean. But historic pre-mill is like the most basic. I'm like, okay, I don't agree with where that's going, but like it's a lot more consistent than anything else that's out there. You know what I mean? So
correct. It takes plain reading of scripture and marries it with the ability to understand allegory and poetic language.
Yes.
And not force the rapture into the text.
Right. The only thing that I would argue it doesn't fully take into account is God's general disposition toward the end of all the end of, when I say end, I don't mean end like time, I mean end like purpose of all things.
Yes.
And so that's where I think post mill has an edge for me, but like that's just both are very much respected for me. But the point that I was getting at is as a post mill guy who is dealing with post mills on two completely opposite ends of the Jewish question, I'm sitting here going, look, here's where you're right, here's where you're right, here's where you're wrong, here's where you're wrong. The entirety of God's earth belongs to Christians. Period. The entirety, including the Holy Land. That means anyone who doesn't eat bacon, I don't care about their petty squabbles, even if it's the Holy Land. Until they start, right? Exactly, right? And so I don't care about the nations raging, Psalm 2. That includes the Jews because they're of the nations at this point. And so do I want them to come back into the fold? Absolutely. Maybe even more than the other nations? Absolutely. Cool. Great. Yes. Wonderful.
They have the ability to enjoy the beauty of the gospel more than anyone else. Which is why it's so frustrating to see them not be a part of it.
Right. And continue to play all the ridiculous political games and try to people be like, don't you love this place? You're Christians. We're your friends. Everything's fine. And Doug Wilson playing like they're Minas Tirith, holding back the forces of Mordor. Him and Toby.
Yep.
I love Toby. Toby's wrong. but they're not the other side of this big giant cabal Brian Sauvé, kind of puts forth. He doesn't as much. He's doing more of it for effect and to express the intensity of their depravity. He's getting really, really poetic these days in all senses of depravity: black culture, white trash culture, everything. And people don't like hearing how bad their sin is. So, I disagree with him on coming at things with natural law because I'm a theonomist. This whole kind of silly battle that we natural law and theonomists have in common. That's really, we're saying the same thing in just two completely different ways.
You're just using different sources.
Well, that and how far do we take it, right?
Yes.
And so that's and why do we take it that far? That's really what it kind of comes down to. But like for me, like I appreciate his passion more than anything, and I wish there were more people with his level of passion. Doug has always kind of been passionate on an even keel, and so like I'm glad that he's doing his thing. I think the fact that he's kind of refusing to platform Ogden in some shapes and ways, but they also had them. They had they aired Fight Laugh Feast, the Dominion wealth management, whatever they're called, they had an ad with Ben Garrett in it at Fight Laugh Feast this year, so they're not completely deplatformed them. So it's just silly. I'm like, come on guys, come on. Can we just agree that bacon eaters own the whole world because that's what God mandated? And then just leave everything else. We can disagree on if they're scheming or not scheming. We can disagree on whether we should be super, super nice to them so that they understand the gospel. Like, we can differ on that. That's not the thing that they want to tear us apart.
I mean, honestly, like, bring back the ecumenical councils. But when I say ecumenical, I mean multi-denominational councils. Where we bring them all together for 3 months. And
Apostles, Nicene, and Athanasian creeds. Everybody with all that, we're good. Let's go.
And
bring the trad Catholics. We're good.
And
if the Orthodox want to come, we'll give a small okay on the Athanasian. They can weigh in. They
can have an opinion. Yes.
Yes.
But where this talking happens person to person and not platform to platform.
Right.
Like, in the end, it's all going to shake out. But it's really frustrating seeing them talk past each other because they're talking to their audiences. And what they really need to be doing is talking to each other. Because yes, on the core, we want Christ to be glorified in every realm.
Mm-hmm.
To that end, we recognize that the best government is one that has Christians as its leaders. That does not mean state, or that does not mean church run. Okay.
Right.
It could be, maybe.
Right.
In the right circumstances, but as a Baptist, I'm not going to advocate for that.
That's fine.
But as a Baptist, I want everyone in my civil magistrate to be a believer and to promote that.
Mm-hmm.
Can we at least agree on that as a starting place, and then start peaceably and respectfully talking nuance from there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was listening to a Reformation Red Pill one that came out semi-recently with Joe Rigney and Doug Wilson. He had them doing for himself the Joshua guy who has the mustache, doing a debate, so to speak, but it was really more of a dialogue on natural law versus theonomy specifically. And what they really came back to was, like I said, the how are we going to implement this and how far is it going to go? They both agreed that there's a category for lawful but completely stupid or asinine. But Doug says ultimately, if it's stupid or asinine, it's against the law, right? Because God says don't be stupid or asinine. And so that's where I stand on things, right? Like, and so but yeah, that's my biggest thing is, what is our duty? What is not just on the individual level, although definitely on the individual level, we do not have enough expression of individual duty in Christendom, period. As laymen, as fathers, not just as these broad general categories and offices, but as the specific peculiar individual.
No, 100%. And the churches are not dipping.
Right, exactly. And they're not seeking to uphold their laity in their specific professions and vocations and missions and callings.
Correct.
And then we have the church, the state, and the family, and they're their own specific vocations and callings and that sort of a thing. And like I think that duty is the thing from which theonomy, so to speak, what we're talking about, springs. What is our duty? What is the thing that we are supposed to do? If everyone is doing what they are supposed to do, we will have a theonomy. That's what the duty of Scripture says as a whole for the entirety of society in one peculiar sense or another, right? So that's the thing that bothers me is like, well, okay, what are you supposed to do? And if you do that ad absurdum, what are you supposed to do? 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 Ad absurdum, we get theonomy, and no one can see that.
No, we do exactly because they're focused on exactly their own Christian disciplines.
Right. And so everyone would agree, like, we have duty. I don't think there's anyone in broader evangelicalism or Protestantism, historical Protestantism, or even trad Catholicism that would argue that. I don't think even in Orthodoxy, or I think you really have to get to the cults before you start seeing questions of that. They might be like, well, maybe some people don't have a peculiar calling. They're just supposed to be part of the church. You know, you might have that a little bit on the fringes, but generally everyone's going to be okay with the concept of calling and duty before God, at least in the area of the Ten Commandments, at least most of them. And just generally speaking, love God, love neighbor, right? Like everyone agrees with that. And so I always start there. What is your duty before God? Okay. What is your duty to your neighbor? What is your duty to your community, to your neighborhood, to your, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the way I always frame theonomy when given the chance, is like, what are you supposed to do? What does God say you're supposed to do? And a lot of people get really weird about that. They're like, oh, that sounds legalistic. Da, da, da. And I'm like, no. God leads you through the Holy Spirit, through your desires. And that's when they start getting weird, when they start being confused by me. But this has been my big thing. And I've gotten really good at arguing this with people, especially lately. Does the Holy Spirit actually sanctify the whole of you or not? Well, yes. That includes your desires, yes? Well, yeah. So there is some sense in which following your heart would, a la Disney, would actually be righteous. Well, yeah, at least part of my heart. So, do you know which part that is? Well, yes. Maybe. Do you know? You want to know how you know? Scripture. Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's where the head knowledge comes in. Yes.
right, exactly. Yeah. And heart and if you're training this but not this, that's where we get all kinds of problems. The Bible is both head and heart knowledge. Both.
Bingo. Exactly.
It's meant to train the whole person.
And that's what sets missionaries and others on fire, because they feel that inward call. No, Scripture does not tell me to go to this specific part of Nepal and preach to these people. That's not anywhere Scripture. But right. I have a heart for this specific people. I have fallen in love with them. And I know Scripture does say, go and make disciples. So I can marry those two and go with confidence.
Right. And I had a father who read me Narnia, and that is the thing that kept me in the faith when all my friends died away. And I want to give that to every other Christian I possibly can. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it is. That's why I write the stories that I do. That's why I read and talk about the things that I talk about, and, have been there. You've seen it. You've seen the whole of my arc. So up to this point, like, you've seen how God's grown that, and so, like, I think, just hearing what you were talking about tonight, like, I think it's so funny. We've got someone so visionary as Nate Wilson, super visionary. Literally said on the latest Stories Are Soul Food in the most Nate Wilson way, people who are big on AI are idiots. And I'm like, and he basically was saying no exceptions. And I'm like, I'm actually going to get one up on Nate Wilson one of these days. So that was really funny. But like, I that thing, I've had to be the most. So Chesterton basically says the best way to win someone over, if you're really actually concerned about winning them over, is to have as much fun as you possibly can inside your own house and have the door open, and every time they walk by, be like, come on in, have dinner with us. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm playing with, and that's kind of always what I wanted out of this stuff. Like I can see the end, the end of the tunnel. It's just putting all the pieces together and having the time to do it piece by piece, little by little.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, yeah. And not getting discouraged by people saying, don't like that. I'm like, you're not seeing the whole thing. It's fine.
Exactly. Well, and that's the flip side too, is because the technology is progressing so fast that if you aren't able to move fast enough with it, then as you're piecing it together, you're going to see the increase, the exponential increase in the quality. And you can almost spend way too long kind of in a circular going back and making it better. And,
well, that's one of the reasons I don't want to do realistic. Right. I want it to be a very specific style. And when you have a very specific style and everything is hyper stylized to a specific thing, yeah, you can always upgrade it. Yeah, you can always change some things, but like you can also let it go. If it hit the mark, you can let it go, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see how this goes, but I'm excited about it. Oh man. Yeah. But I don't know. Have you had what has been the downside for you? Because have you been on the complete other side of this already and then back around, or have you always been pro? Like, where are you at? Where were you at? You know, et cetera, et cetera. Where are you on this?
Yeah, I am adamantly on the side of AI is a tool, and I think I've kind of been there the whole time. There are some aspects of AI that have been so catered to we do it all for you that I can't find the tool part to grasp hold of.
Right.
And I think Suno is that way at the moment. I think it's a little much of we do everything. I absolutely use it, but I'm very hesitant to let people know when and where I use it because of that backlash.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it's the same as using stock music. It's like I'm going for something that has a specific feel. It in itself is not the artistic part that I'm trying to emphasize. It's assisting the greater artistic piece. And that's why I have no problem with that. If I had a problem with that, then personally, I would also have a problem with stock music. And I do, actually. Like, I really, I will pick AI music over stock music every day because you're only going to hear that AI music one time in my piece.
Right.
You're not going to hear like you run too many chances of that stock piece showing up again and again and again, and it loses. Especially if someone's hearing it the second or third time from something else, then that's suddenly distracting from the artistic piece.
I am trying to develop more leitmotifs that I can use as my signature pieces for my signature stories, that I can hum and whistle and sing into it with all the feeling and emotion I possibly can. And I think that's where the tool aspect of it is for me more than anything else, is the ability to take my already there musical ability, which is not polyphonic. It is very monophonic. But I have rhythm, and I have a very good ear for melody, and writing melodies I always have. And so just being able to wrap that in the style that I need, basically have a band to back me, right?
Yep.
And when an orchestra to back me when I need it, and well, more or less, they're getting better.
Close enough.
Yeah,
better than GarageBand.
Yes, for YouTube videos and things that we're already doing, yes, it is. But I really am trying to get better at that specifically. That's something that I really, because my voice is not in the typical register of someone who would have been on the radio 20 years ago. But I do have a voice that is very good when I sing in my proper register. And can sound wonderful with various pieces, but I don't want to lower everything so low that it's not going to sound good either. And so generating in a specific key, which it does now, and also, through prompting, and also being able to take a piece that was already done and remastered in another key, or also I really want to learn the ability to sing an octave lower, but create the pocket that is needed for my voice to blend. Because there are some pieces that will sound better with a lower voice, even though Suno doesn't generate it with a lower voice, so that I could actually make it fully better. And that's the why I want to learn the mastering specifically for my use case, because I'm definitely a baritone to a bass, and there are people who do that really well, like Peyton Parrish and Jonathan Young and folks like that. It is doable, but I really need to learn how to make my voice sound good in studio, so to speak, as opposed to just live. I can make my voice sound great live anytime I want. For speaking, I've figured that out entirely,
Yes.
So it's just a matter of figuring out that next step for singing, because I can wow people in person singing. I do on a semi-regular basis. I had some random lady come up to me today who goes to the Bible study, but not church, I think, or she just started coming to church, something like that. And she was just, I thank you for all that you do with the cameras and stuff. I could barely use my phone, so it's amazing to me what you do. And also, I love listening to you sing all the time. And so I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate that, so.
To close out the transmission, the men share a laugh over a veteran-turned-comedian and brainstorm a revolutionary new business model for wedding videography, the Mockumentary.
Because they all buy the Doom hype.
Yes, they do. They do. Artists don't seem to understand how to discern the air they're breathing.
And it's
they
not
seem
just
to
artists,
enjoy getting high on it.
Well, the Alex is not, very specifically, not an artist. We have some people who are more adjacent, who just appreciate that, who are just in the general, people who like Grey Havens camp, right?
Yeah.
So I love Grey Havens. Don't get me wrong, but just that general camp, they really appreciate I guess you could call it good organic art, right? And so that's their thing, and they hear and see the AI and see the people freaking out and the doom scrolling and all the other things that it causes, especially with all the propaganda machines that are out there and whatever else. And it's okay, where, at what point are we not human anymore? All these other sorts of questions that they keep coming up with. And I just continually want to keep saying, this is more than we could have ever dreamed of, for sure, on the positive. But even if we take all of that out, and when we talk about Chris Wiley, CR Wiley, and the podcast guys, Brendan's dad and all them, so they've been delving into some stuff, and they've been doing a good job on covering it from an academic viewpoint. And the academic viewpoint I think the best point that they have to make is that with every technology, we're trading off a piece of something else. But the thing that they have not proven is that each and every time we've traded off a piece of our society, that it was always bad. There are a lot of ones that they just automatically assume are bad, such as one of the big ones Alex is always on is close-knit societies that have walking distance places as opposed to, you know, having to have a car to go everywhere.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that.
And I can understand partly where that's bad, but I'm not so sure that it is a net loss in any kind of way, any kind of demonstrable way. I think that road trip culture, especially Route 66, which we've lost due to gas prices, which is overregulation, which is all these other sorts of things that came afterward, were the thing that actually killed the walkable city thing, because we had a walkable city over a huge chunk of the whole earth, and it was starting to get filled in with people.
Correct. Well, yes. So people love to blame capitalism for these problems.
Right.
But we don't actually have capitalism. There's that, and then that's the problem here, because hang on. Capitalism thrives when humans flourish. Those things go hand in hand. And so when capitalism is doing something to kill human flourishing, it's no longer capitalism. It's become something monstrous, something evil, and namely, that's Marxism, that's socialism designed to destroy in order to rebuild in its own image. And so, So post World War II, pretty much everything that has gone sour is because it's had poison injected into it. Intentional, long game poison.
Well, yes, and not all of that is Marxism. Some of that is actual what Doug has called crony capitalism. It's the corporate greed side of things too. It's Ted Turner saying we're gonna put everybody out of business, right? That's the whole sort of thing.
Correct. And the only reason that works is because of government interference in the marketplace.
Yes. So one of the things that and I don't know that this has ever fully been tried, which makes it sort of a weird question mark, but Alex has been really into trying to look at G.K. Chesterton's idea of distributism, which is more of he's striving to be more medieval, more of a guild system sort of an idea, where you have institutions that are divvying up things like land and property, making sure that there's proper hunting grounds, those sorts of things, but applying those general principles to modern day and how that would work and blah, blah, blah. My issue with it is it sort of presupposes a certain level of omniscience in man that isn't there. However, I think
it presupposes a worldview that understands man's place.
And the more I read of the because he has a few people that he reads and is into, and he's not in any way, shape, or form Marxist, but he listens to people who are like socialists and things just to hear what they have to say, the people who actually are intelligent ones, and not just like, we want to take your family and capitalism, it's only ever capitalism's evil kind of a thing, but they actually have ideas. And they're not 100% like government interference either, a lot more voluntarism and more like libertinism and stuff like that. But the overall point that they do have is the initial formulas of capitalism were generally not Christian, but they became adopted by Christian, and what is Christian is free markets. And there aren't many other systems besides, there aren't many other free market systems out there. There are free market systems out there besides capitalism, but there aren't many. And they're not, you know, we live in a very monopolistic society when it comes to the style. You're either socialist or you're capitalist, or you're somewhere that's a syncretism of the both, right? But the point overall, as far as just a general market idea that I think we're really missing, is actually having a ruling class of some sort in and around the private spheres above basically private entities that answer to the government in some way, shape, or form.
Church membership.
Right. There is that.
That actually works. Accountability basically is the idea, but within a Christian nation, people who are members of churches and their churches can hold them accountable.
Yes, but also the hands-on factor of a guild system, I think, is also helpful, particularly in skilled trades of various sorts. We sort of have a remnant of that with the trade schools and the unions, but the unions are Marxist and they stepped in and filled the gap, right? And so we need something better than that, something that actually is a money maker, something that's for profit, that can actually that can actually sit there and say, okay, we have a vested interest in this sector of the economy. How are we going to rightly rule this, and whether it's an aristocracy, you know, feudal system, or whether it's a Presbyterian system or Congregationalist system, whatever it is, essentially just having officials who are overseers of a certain sector of the economy that are beholden to the government to make money. I think that's a good thing that we don't have.
So give me a use case for why you think that would be, because I don't know if that conglomerate is necessary if the individual is being held accountable.
Right. It's not if the individual is being held accountable, but the level to which the individuals in a sector, such as, for example, electricians, right? We have electricians, we have unions, we have private electricians that are outside of the unions that are good or bad based on reputation, right? And so I think the problem is, we need to get rid of the unions, but I think we need to replace the union with something that is invested in the field to standardize safety, to train up the next generation, and to connect them with other businesses, and to receive a tithe, so to speak, not a literal tithe, but you know what I'm saying, in order to facilitate new electricians and safety standards. I think that is something good that has been there in various pieces, but it's either been Marxinated on one end, or it's been monopolized on the other end. You know, you got your Amazons in the shipping realm, right? In general, a lot of things have been standardized by Amazon. You have TV, generally the big networks standardized everything. And then they basically took over everything, and then they became irrelevant as cable TV came around, and then Turner and a few other conglomerates took over the TV, and then you're having the same thing happen with streaming now. Right? Everything gets standardized to maximize profit for the individual companies and put the other companies out of business. And then something else comes along and disrupts the industry. And that sort of whiplash could actually be helped long term by an entity that is beholden to the government, but is not a private business, but also is a facilitator of competition. Their job is to create the competition and give people the things that they need to start those businesses, right?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I think standardization is just something that will happen naturally, because born out of, oh, well, this is a superior technique, and I'm going to learn
Yes.
it in this guy's way. And following the apprentice master model, you will have those who are trained in this guy's way of doing it, and there'll be refinements that'll happen on top of that. So I think some of that will just happen organically.
Some of it, yes. When it comes to extreme safety situations, that's the only thing that I think you do have to, as a government, be aware of.
Yeah,
you know.
But I think that is within the realm of the civil government. I don't think that needs to be a private entity. I think that falls squarely within the civil government. I think specifically of the Old Testament laws regarding building fences around your house, your rooftop. For the good of those around you. And so I could see the adage is laws are built in blood. I see that just being squarely within the civil realm. I don't think you need a
the only thing that I would say
to enforce that.
The only thing I would say in that regard is the level of bureaucracy that ends up being needed to keep it in the civil realm, as opposed to dealing with people who are trained in a particular field. And this is the thing. They either hire experts as what do you call them? Consultants, right? Which they do. Mm-hmm. They do that some. But I feel like having a regular relationship and having a group that goes, okay, we as the collective of all of the competing electrician companies, right? We're going to elect these guys to represent us as the guild, right? They're going to be beholden to the government as the consultant, right? At least for whatever their term is. Sure. And then they actually have the knowledge of what needs to be done for safety, so that we're not having government bureaucrats decide the specifics of the standards.
So it doesn't have to be
right?
reactive; it can be proactive.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's something there, but I don't go full distributism like Alex. And I think that, and he and I both agree, free markets is the thing, right? Like, we need that. But the extreme split between private and public has only caused problems in a lot of ways, especially when you start getting into tax code. Once again, more regulation. 501c3 is one of the worst things that ever was conceived in the United States.
The quickest way to get rich is start a nonprofit. I'm not even joking.
Oh, I know.
I have thoughts.
And not only that, and here's the thing. You want to be rich? Don't talk about the government. Start a 501c3. That's the incentive, right? And so that's part of my whole thing. If we have guilds, the guilds actually hold more sway than you would have for a if you had real guilds, like state guilds, right? I'm not talking like federal guilds, state guilds. You would have such a lobby in the guilds themselves as an institution that it almost wouldn't matter who's on top in any particular field, even if there was some level of legal, not illegal, legal monopoly, right? Because the guild holds more sway, because the guild is the guild. It can't be, upset. It's what it is. If ever something becomes irrelevant, that the government could vote to disband a guild, right? If there's, the horseshoe making guild, right? Whatever. Like,
exactly. I mean, that's the problem, is that the guild could become so niche that it is now anti-innovation.
Yes, agreed. 100%. And that's where there needs to be disruptors, and there needs to be like less of a regulation sort of a thing. But I do think having a guild to say, hey, this is where, you can seek to form a AI guild, AI artist guild, to compete with, whatever. And I think having an unofficial to official system could be beneficial, where you could create private guilds, right? That sort of a thing, and essentially lobby as a private guild, and the government can take you seriously or not, right? But present your case, right? Present your case for why this regulation is overbearing. You know, you're the guild's gone mad. You know, like, and they did stuff like this back in the medieval period, and it generally worked. I think that it's a step to actually make it work in our current society. You know, like there's a ton of stuff that would have to be done, and whatever else. But like, I just think that there needs to be like a place where competition isn't the only thing in your industry, where you actually come together as individuals of a field and decide what's best for the field itself, right?
Well, yeah, and I want that from coming from the professionals, not the civil magistrate,
right.
Because what the EU did with USPC is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then the other is I want government to actually take the whole of an industry seriously, as opposed to one company, just because they're the biggest and the loudest, right? And so those are the two things that I think are good points.
Yeah, exactly. You'd have to put checks and balances in to keep it from becoming like a lobbyist scenario where the guild is donating money and throwing lavish parties to keep the civil magistrate fat and happy.
But see, this is one of the things with, if you have a smaller civil government, because that's been offloaded to the guilds, if the guilds get too big, the civil government is the one who's actually in charge of the army and everything else. They can be like, hey, knock it off if you get the right people in power. You know what I mean? So,
true.
You know, but yeah. Yeah. So what's up, Jesse? How's work been?
Working. So far. I was meaning to ask earlier, Benjamin, so I'm assuming you do a bunch of digital production, but what's the Benjamin job? The Benjamin.
That's a new one. I like that. Yeah, I like to say that I work in media and marketing. Pretty much everything that touches.
Dude, I work in marketing and media.
Yeah, I think that's the quickest, like, one-liner, like, anything that touches media or marketing, there's a good chance I know something about it. Day in, day out, though, I do a lot of editing.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, check it out. This is do you recognize this guy by any chance?
Which one, right or left?
Bobby Henline. Should be left.
Left, okay.
No, I don't think I do.
I saw him on this podcast for some local guys, and I was like, wait, I actually recognize this guy from other stuff. He's like a veteran who a bunch of guys in his Humvee. He was like the only survivor of, like, I think it was an IED, and like 70% of his body was burned, and it was just cool because I was like, wait, I recognize this guy, and he's absolutely hilarious. So that's the thing that I've been editing.
Nice. Oh,
he's a stand-up comedian too. He had during this episode, this podcast here, he is the guest. He's not the host. He's explaining like what got him into stand-up comedy. All of his doctors kept saying like he was hilarious and he should do stand-up, and he was like, yeah, but these are a bunch of doctors. They're used to like dark humor. But they were like, no, like you really should try. And so he was like, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You know, like at the very worst thing that could happen is my performance bombs, and it wouldn't be the worst bomb I've been through. there are not too many times where I have to stop editing because I'm laughing too hard, and that was one of them today. That was really good. He's really funny.
Oh man, comedy is one of those things. Like I have yet to have actually been to a comedy routine in person, but I keep wondering how much of it is the comedian is actually that funny, and how much of it is the audience has been told that he is funny, and so they're coming into it assuming they will laugh, and so the laughs are easier. Like, where's the balance there?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't even think it's a Venn diagram.
Oh man.
Maybe I just that, hoping that one day I could actually do a comedy routine, but I know I'm not that funny.
Yeah, but that's not the point. All you have to do is show up, and they have to think you're funny, and and then you can sell tickets.
It's true.
No, this guy's actually hilarious.
I know I could do it. I just struggle to find a reason and motivation to want to do it. It would be the feather in my cap in some ways, but like, Yet another thing, right? That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yet another
I'm very
hat to wear.
I could. I know. Oh man, I told Benjamin. I don't know if I told you, but like I had a guy in a local pipe band come up to me today as I was working and be like, "Oh, I heard you like play some instruments and sing stuff. We're looking for a drum, not just a drummer, but like a drum instructor, like for our pipe band and stuff, and like so we can get more drummers." And I'm just like, that is absolutely something in any kind of normal times that I would absolutely be all over and really love and enjoy and get all kinds of friendships out of. I probably don't have time, but please text me the information so I can look at it.
Yep.
Just in case.
Oh,
that's kind of how I feel about weddings now. When people ask me to give them, like give a number. Last time someone asked me for a quote for a wedding, I said, yeah. I said, I'm not giving the friends and family discount. I'm just going to throw out the number that I think it would actually take me, because I don't have the bandwidth, nor I would enjoy it in the moment, but I wouldn't enjoy the post work on it, because it's just,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of content that you've got to condense into a short amount of time.
Hey, you have AI for that now, though.
Exactly. Right?
I usually just say 3 months.
Yep.
Well, I haven't had to for several years, because if anybody asks me, my answer from now on is just going to be $7,000, and that's it.
Yep.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Yep. That'll work for a few more years till inflation.
Thankfully, DJing more my field. Like, I just have to be very present and do the thing. That and talk with them beforehand about what they want. But like, that is not as bad. So
it's so much better. Just showing up and doing something. That's great.
I'm actually quite jealous of wedding photographers in particular, like the obscene amount of money that they make, and how compared to video editing, how simple their workflow afterwards is.
You open up Lightroom and you maybe edit for 2 hours.
Yes, exactly. You dial in the look, and then you copy and paste pretty much across the entire spectrum, and then tweak.
You know what would be really fun, though, as a thing to offer? I don't know of anyone who does this. Go ahead and steal my idea if you want. And then I do need to leave to actually record some stuff and get work done on my end. But what if you offered a mockumentary package for weddings, where you actually pull people aside and do confessions and stuff like that, and did the whole wedding as like a mockumentary?
I love
Dude, like, but you could make it like office, like almost like The Office.
Yeah, exactly.
That mockumentary. You literally just said that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my word, that would actually be really, really funny.
Yep. And give them ideas for like the characters as you go, you know, whatever, like it's them, but like turned up to 11 kind of a thing. And you can give them like hints and things to say and whatever else. And then just, you know, for the little in-betweens and then just edit it together. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you record those ahead of time and you play it instead of speeches during the reception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go. You do a little like reel of that as a trailer for what's going to be coming to their guests.
Oh man.
I'd get married again.
Casey said she'd get married again to do that.
Vow renewal. No, okay. Now,
yeah.
that, but for funerals.
Oh my goodness, that'd be amazing. I know lots of people who would pay for that.
That guy sucked. But I heard they're gonna have margaritas at the reception.
Exactly. Oh, there was a TikTok that I saw, a lady at a outdoor like restaurant, and there's like a big planter, and she's like, oh, this little thing is over here, and she's like reaching behind the planter, and it looks like she's like going for some small animal to pick it up or whatever, and she pulls it out and she goes, it's a margarita, and it was like a margarita.
Poor little thing.
Yep. All right,
number 9.
I did have a quick.
Both of you
John
seem
earlier
to.
John earlier had asked. He's thinking about actually like switching by this weekend, switching out those covers on his books. And he asked me how I want credit listed, and I've never really been asked that kind of question before, separate from like Page 50 World for a published thing. Oh, right. You don't. So you're like,
I have no clue.
I don't.
You could put something in the book as like a cover design by, you know.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know how I would be credited for that though. So I guess that might be a question for my boss. Because he'd be fine. I'm sure he's going to be like, yeah, just Jesse Marsalis is fine, but you know, just to, I don't know how that space works. So
yeah, I don't either, honestly. I usually have very little to do with the actual like cover designs and things. So Benjamin, you had something before at the same time as him. Yes, I say read by because I'm not pretentious.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you gonna say, Benjamin, when he was also trying to get me to stay for a second?
No. My brain at this point is definitely. I've run out of coffee. It is time to go to bed.
Yeah, it's crazy. The reason why he won't say his question is because he had the exact same question that I did.
Alrighty, gents. Well, I really appreciate the time, and I'm going to be doing this again Thursday night, same time, 8:30 Eastern current time, whatever it is. But this is daylight savings confusion, mumbo jumbo. So yeah,
I probably won't be there, unfortunately.
Okay, well, we'll see you soon, though. Yeah, I think that's everything. I always feel like we have more to talk about, Jesse, but I can never remember. So
usually.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for letting me hang out.
Absolutely, anytime. All right, we'll see you later, man.
You too can be a part of the brood of writers and poets at war. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. If you're a true poetry patriot, you can support us on Substack and Patreon and get the recordings of all of our encouraging and strategic meetings, along with much more. Once again, all links can be found at joshuadavidling.com. Over and out.
God of songs, said warrior bard, though all the world betray.
I'll go